My name's Joanne Boag. I am from the IP and Commercialisation office within MCRI, and well, I do have a background in molecular biology. That was quite a while ago. I actually spent 6 years working as a patent and trademark attorney, so please don't hold that against me. Tonight, Mohinder and I are going to speak about the collaborative journey that MCRI and Curve Tomorrow have taken in creating health technology products. I'm going to speak from an MCRI point of view and how and why we came together with Curve Tomorrow, and then Mohinder's going to speak from the Curve Tomorrow perspective and also give a bit more detail on how we develop products and an example as well. So the Murdoch Children's Research Institute is unique in that it's very translationally focused, and that's in a large part due to our close association with the Royal Children's Hospital. So we have direct line of contact with patients and with our other end users. If you add that together with our other linkages and capabilities, and I've just put VCGS and the Melbourne Children's Trial Centre up there as an example, you can see that we have an end-to-end pipeline where we can develop discoveries at the bench and take them all the way through to the bedside as hopefully new diagnostics and new therapies. And diagnostics and therapies are traditionally what medical research institutes deal in, but what about ICT and mobile health? So a couple of years ago, and you'd be far more familiar with this than I am, there was a surge of interest in using health technologies and mobile technologies to move them into healthcare. And here at MCRI, we were also very interested. There was an emerging interest and an increased recognition that maybe mobile technologies could be used to implement our research and to improve health outcomes. There was especially interest from our population and clinical health themes, because they were, I think they saw it as a real opportunity to be able to translate their research where previously translation and outcomes such as diagnostics and therapeutics were really limited to laboratory-based research. Something that might surprise you, though, is that medical research institutes are actually quite a low technology environment that's punctuated by pockets of very, very high technology and very sophisticated instrumentation, generally in the genomic space. However, when you mention IT or ICT at a medical research institute, most people will immediately think of the IT help desk, who unfortunately have to deal with people like me who can barely turn a computer on. So we very quickly recognised that we had a gap in skills and knowledge, and that we needed to fill that gap. And so after a couple of false starts, we partnered with Curve Tomorrow, and this has been a great collaboration. The interest in health technologies and moving our research and discoveries into products has just grown since we partnered with Curve Tomorrow. And Mohinder's going to speak to this in more detail, but I think a large part of this is due to Curve Tomorrow being embedded within the Medical Research Institute. It's really helped with engagement of the researchers and really being there from the beginning in looking for the solutions to the problems. So I'll hand over now to Mohinder.
My name is Mohinder and I'm from Curve Tomorrow, and we're an innovation and technology company. And we've been working very closely with MCRI in creating technology health products. And I just wanted to give you a bit of an insight on the journey from a tech company's point of view. I just wanted to start quickly just a little bit about my journey. I started life as a robotics engineer. I don't remember much before that. But I do remember during my course, I actually thought I'd be making robots at the end. But when I graduated, the robot apocalypse hadn't come, so I actually had to go back into the real world. And I joined a consulting company where I learned a lot about software development and software engineering. I did that for a few years, and then I joined the Holden Innovation, and they were part of the General Motors R&D lab. So got to work on innovation theory, human-machine interfaces, and interaction design. And we came up with some really cool products, but a bit of frustration. They never made it into the car, and you can probably see if you own a Holden that hasn't really innovated over the last few years, but there's great stuff in the R&D labs.
What's the cup holder department for?
Yeah, the things we've got for the cup holder are just amazing. But I left out of frustration because did want to see my ideas and innovations get into the market. So I went and joined an agile development company named Dias, and really fine-tuned my software engineering skills and learn about agile development. And in 2009, I formed Curve Tomorrow, and the mission was really to create ideas and technology that had a positive change to society. And at the time, I had a couple other robotic engineers join me for the journey. And we worked on some really cool stuff, but we slowly gravitated towards health because it really fit in nicely with our mission. And since we've formed our partnership with MCRI, I've managed to grab another few robots from my original course to draw me along for the journey. So just a little bit more about what Curve Tomorrow does. We look at technology trends and consumer trends, and we look to build products, software products on existing hardware. So we look at things like the Xbox Connect, tablets, smartphones, web technologies, could be desktop technologies, and wearables, which is what it's creating all the buzz right now. And we combine that with research and existing IP. In this case, we work closely with MCRI to create those really novel ideas. And once we've come up with ideas, we look to form a team. And the key to forming a team is to have both technology and health professionals involved. And this has been part of the success that we've had so far, is that there is that cohesion between technology and research. And once we've got that team together, we look at building a proof of concept. And in that case, we apply those user interaction methodologies and agile design and development to actually get thin slices of functionality out. And that helps us build a small, minimal viable product, and we can get that out. Now, the key to this picture is that both Curve Tomorrow and MCRI are involved from the start all the way through to the end. And that's been part of the power of our success so far. And being a technology company that's embedded within a research institute, that's embedded within a hospital, has been great. We've been able to get into the minds and live the lives of researchers, and vice versa. They can get into the minds of a technology person and understand what's going on in that field. I've had the pleasure to follow Mike around for a day in surgery and get into his mind, which is quite scary. Especially when he's got a scalpel over a patient.
Plenty of space.
A lot of silence in that. So that's been part of. But that's been part of what's made this model really great, and I'll just show you an example of that. So one of the products that we're working with MCRI on is Sunny Movement, and that came about a couple of years ago, where we came into MCRI and presented to the traumatic brain injury group. We focused on a few trends, consumer trends, such as mobility, gamification, personalisation, and some technology trends. So we're looking at gesture control and 3D cameras. And at the time, a couple of researchers came back to us, and one in particular, her name is Jaimangal. She's an occupational therapist. She came back and said, "This is really cool. I'd love to see how we could apply this in the assessment and rehab I do for kids with upper limb impairments." So we got together, we formed a bit of a team, workshopped the idea, and we came up with a persona that we wanted to build for, the product for. We called him Jack, and Jack was born with cerebral palsy. And the idea was to really get into the mind of Jack and understand a day in the life, especially when he's doing assessment and rehab. And the idea was to look at how we could introduce technology into his life to improve his quality of life, as well as look at how we can make it more efficient and accurate for clinicians to do assessments and rehab. So we came up with 3 thin slices of functionality that we wanted to build, mostly centered around how the clinicians measure during assessments, and then we built a small product out of that. And I'll show you a quick video. I'll just plug in the sound. Yeah, because it's got some nice background music. I don't want you to miss out on that. So this is Jane Galvin. She's the occupational therapist that we work with. And this is how she measures a child like Jack. This child's name's Zen. She pretty much uses a goniometer, which is a big protractor. And you can see it's quite inaccurate. And this is Zen. He's standing in front of a 3D camera. Doesn't have to wear anything. It can pick up his angles almost immediately and to a 5-degree error. So you can see just the difference in how the measurements are done now and how they could be done. And in some cases like this measurement, they just eyeball it because it's too hard to measure. And the accuracy is about plus or minus 30 degrees. So it's a whole different level of accuracy. And the idea is that all this information goes to the cloud, Jane can get an automated report and she can see sessions over time, so she can track history. And this is really my favourite part. We left the cameras rolling after he was playing with it, and he was just having fun, and that was part of what we wanted to do. We wanted to engage these kids at a different level, so they're not coming into hospital to do assessment or rehab, they're just coming into hospital to have fun. So what are some of the challenges so far that we've faced? The additional time from a technology point of view. We didn't really account for things like regs or ethics or recruitment or trials, and it was... See, the health people are laughing, the technology people are going, what are you talking about? And I think that was a frustration at the start, just how things are a lot slower in health compared to a traditional technology stream. But, you know, we've had to learn to be more patient and account for that, you know, when we're building our products. Focus has been one of the major challenges. A lot of buzz, a lot of excitement in health technology, and it's quite easy to get distracted. So, you know, one of the challenges has been to just stay focused on the products that we're delivering and get them out. You know, another challenge is just the amount of roadblocks we've faced, and I think that's attributed to kind of the software health space, because it's still quite new, where the traditional pharmaceutical and hardware device areas in health are quite mature. So, you know, we've had to push through those boundaries, and excuse me, we're continuing to push through. So, what is the challenge ahead? It's to get more of our products to market and to really prove that engagement with our consumers and health professionals, but also test our business models. And I'd love to come back to this forum and this audience in the near future and talk about the successes at that end of the journey. So hopefully one day I'll get another invite to talk from Matt and Chris. So thanks.